Item 10, comments from council members. Receive oral report from Mayor Rico E. Medina on council member attendance at the recent League of California Cities New Mayor and City Council Member Academy held in Sacramento, California.
I'll make this somewhat brief, but what did occur is on January 17th through the 19th, council members Marty Medina, council member Irene O'Connell, Vice Mayor Laura Davis, and I went up to Sacramento to attend the New Mayors and Council Members Academy. And even though it says new, and yes, I realize I've been up here a little bit too, but the last time I went was 12 years ago. What encouraged me was something that Irene had said, was it's about the importance of getting the updates, the best practices. Things evolve, things change, rules change, Brown Acts, rulings, stuff like that. And so what it also afforded us was an opportunity to meet with colleagues throughout the state to better understand what they are going through, what they're feeling, what challenges they may have. And again, like I said, we did do ethics training. We did go over about the Brown Act, activities on and planning on housing and current issues, finance training on ongoing revenue and the cost of services. So to me, it was very comprehensive, and I think what we found more interesting as well, because homeless was a question that we'd asked several of individuals from other areas about what they are encountering. How do they deal with it? What works, what doesn't? Oddly enough, I mean, one mayor, they have 300. So, and again, yes, they're a larger city than us, and again, it's throughout the state. But it was something that was systematic, that it is happening everywhere. And we are not alone in that issue. And nobody has the best answer, but they've tried different options and avenues. I found the conference, and I think my colleagues would say the same, as a value and a benefit, and hearing from others, as well as getting the training and updated best practices, which is important for us to keep fresh and understanding what goes on, and hearing from the lawyers on the ethics training, because laws have changed, rules have changed. And so for all of us to be in compliance, which we are required every 2 years to take ethics training and harassment training. The harassment training just started about a year or so ago. Huh? Well, that's not what they call it. So, but it is to prevent, but we have nothing to prevent, Robert. We don't do anything wrong, we're good. So, but it is a requirement that we are, as electeds, required to do that every 2 years. So anyway, I'll leave that on as far as the program, and I want to thank my colleagues who attended, because we take our own cars, pay our own tolls, pay our own gas. So, but we appreciate the city also facilitating that so that we can go and get educated. I have a couple items under council comments, but I certainly want to open it to the rest. Marty.
Thank you.
Please.
It was a great conference, and hearing about how other cities are struggling with way more homeless problems it's a serious problem. We need additional help for the people that can't find a way to improve their situation, and I'll leave it at that. There's an incredible story here in San Bruno of a team undefeated 3 years in a row. This was a 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, undefeated Parkside girls basketball team. So they won the championship, and I wanted to acknowledge that, because that's really an amazing feat, to go 3 years in a row and not lose to your competition in the area. So congratulations to the Parkside 8th grade basketball team. The other thing is a personal note. Last Tuesday, I was honored to be accepted into the Lions Club. Former Vice Mayor Ibarra sponsored me, and I look forward to working with that great organization to continue providing the community service that they do for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. I do have a few items I wanted to raise. So these are requests for information, but they are requests that I believe would require a good bit of staff time to develop, and so I thought it would be appropriate to bring it up here in the open forum so we could get concurrence from the council on digging into these. And the first one has to do with trees, and I know the trees have been a big concern. I heard a lot of tree concerns during my time out talking to neighbors, and I've seen some issues that have been brought to the council's attention. And I know that we're on a regular program of maintaining the trees, and I believe each section gets done every 3 or 4 years. And I wanted to get a little more information around whether or not 3 or 4 years is often enough to take care of the trees, especially certain species of trees like eucalyptus that do tend to grow a lot and make a lot of mess. It looks like we might be going into another drought year, and so then these issues become even more important. So I'd like to get some information on whether our program is adequate, and if it's not adequate, what it would cost to bring it up to par, and maybe look at some other options, including the possibility of removing some trees that that we just can't get to. The other thing was regarding our participation in Peninsula Clean Energy. We saw a report that Marty forwarded to us showing which cities are participating at the 100% clean energy level, and I noticed we weren't on that list, and I would like to see us be leaders in that and sort of set a standard for our residents. I know some residents are still unclear on what the program entails and whether or not they should go 100% or not. I think it is important for us to be leaders in that area. So if that's something that could be brought back for a decision, I would appreciate that. And then finally, related to our water meters, I also heard a lot of concerns about the anomalies in what people saw in their bills pre and post smart meter for water. And I was wondering if we could get some information on what data is available on these new systems, and what kind of reports we might be able to provide the residents to help them determine whether or not they have issues with their water use, and help them identify potential leaks. I know not a lot of people have gone to the website. It is available. I know they can go in and monitor it themselves, but since we do have the data, if we could be proactive in providing that information, I think that would be huge to a lot of people that maybe just aren't comfortable going to the internet and analyzing data. So that was it. Thank you.
So with you asking that for 3 items in regards to I'll say the tree trimming and what is the best practice, and is the program adequate? That was your first question. Is that fair? Is there other council members would like to see staff work on that and have that brought forward?
Well, I'm not quite clear about what part you need. We went through rather extensive analysis of the tree trimming. We did the contracting. We did, what our city team is doing, what the contractor is doing, how far behind we were. So are you asking to do even more than what we've already done?
No, what I'm asking for is an analysis on whether our program is adequate, and if it's not adequate, whether we should consider either increasing our funding for it or removing some of the trees that are just too problematic. But if you feel that it's been covered, and if you think there's adequate information on there, I'll be happy to review it myself and see if I can't get the answers that I need.
Well, I'm comfortable not. I mean, we spent a lot of hours, and I know staff spent a lot of time doing that. I don't know if the rest of the council wants to hear it again.
Does staff have the reports or the information?
I have a comment.
Comments are great too.
So staff is working on a couple of things that we promised the city council as part of that previous discussion. Most importantly, I think, is the tree inventory that is assessing the urban forest and other trees owned and maintained or not by the city throughout the community. I think that work, which is scheduled to be done later this spring, will be a good basis for some further discussion by staff and by the city council. And I think we can meet your interest partway. I will tell you, though, that the whole issue of trees is a very broad topic. It is something that we may only be able to pose topics for you for further exploration, depending on the council's interest and, frankly, staff's analysis. And lastly, I would say that the work that we did previously, you mentioned the species eucalyptus, for example. I think we may be mixing and matching just a little bit the work that we did and the contracting that has been put into place, and that is, I can let you know, working out extremely well. The contractor has progressed well through the city with virtually no hiccups, and we are well on our way to be able to provide a more reliable, comprehensive process for addressing our 4-year tree cycle. What that program does not address, and which is is a much bigger, broader topic for potential conversation, is what are we doing? You mentioned the species eucalyptus. I'm not aware. It could be possible that we have some eucalyptus street trees. I think we don't, or we don't have a lot of them. The tree maintenance, pruning and pollarding, the 4-year program, is strictly related to street trees. That is a subset of the broader topic of trees. And so we'll be prepared to engage a conversation with the city council within the next few months that as a result of the tree inventory completion, that may, as the first level of effort, really only give you a number of topics that we want your guidance about exploring further.
Okay. Well, thank you for clarifying that, and I think, I'll wait till we get to the point where we address that, and we can go from there. So, in that case, I will.
But thank you.
Yeah.
The next one you had was
one.
participation in the Peninsula Clean Energy. Obviously, Marty serves on that, so I don't know, is that something you would want to report back on, or?
I believe we got an informal report back when I originally asked about going to 100% clean energy, and it was a cost associated with that.
Okay.
To re-examine that cost would be, I think, beneficial to decide if that's worth it. And I think it's relatively a minor amount of time to do that.
Yeah, to my knowledge, staff doesn't have that information readily available, but I think it's a very easy,
Right.
Quick process to get it from the organization, and then we can provide that report.
And then the budget
To the
comes
city
up,
council.
so if it wanted to be budget, if that was the consensus, but maybe at the budget time, that would be the appropriate thing, okay? And then last was the water meters, pre-post smart meters, what data and reports are available to residents, and some of them obviously felt there is a higher spike in the costs and what have you. I know there was, we were told when the meters went in that there was going to be some type of a difference. We were going to see that. The residents would see that.
Correct.
Is there anything that you're aware of that we have post?
So it's not a topic that I have explored, so I would like to take the time to get some information from staff. What we can certainly do is provide an informational report about what tools are available and how to access them for residents to monitor and manage their own water use. In order to analyze whether there's been anomalies or how those anomalies might be affecting customers generally or individual customers, I would just suggest it's probably a very, very significant work effort. So I would request a time to be able to consult with staff about what we could easily provide and then report back to the council on that.
Through the chair?
Yes, Irene.
Just for general information, and was fascinating, I inadvertently left a hose on overnight, but the next day there was a notice on my door from Public Works saying you have a water spike use, and you need to check to see why you have it. So I thought that was a very good and very timely reminder of what was going on, or notice of what was going on. So I appreciated that.
Other council comments tonight?
I have a comment on the same request that's coming from Councilmember Salazar, and I'm not really clear either on what he's asking for because, I think all of us as residents should really be on, we all have water in San Bruno, and we should really look at what the feature is that the city is offering. But I guess a more specific question would be, how many residents actually use the feature? How many people are enrolled in your online program to understand water use and spike? But if you either have a smart meter or you don't have a smart meter, it's just water use. And so are you looking at understanding, has the water use decreased? I guess I'm not clear.
Well, we made a huge investment in a system that allows us to track the water usage. I mean, the meters had to be replaced, but we replaced them with a system that's a lot more expensive. And the real benefit in the new system is that it is not only more accurate, but it does track things at a very granular level. And there's a trend across government right now to make government data, openly available to the public. And so with this system, we actually have a wealth of data that we make it available, but I don't know that the average resident is able to make full use of the data because it's not information, it's only data until somebody interprets it, puts it in some kind of form that makes sense to them. It's something I do at work. We do a lot of work with open data and trying to find out how can we make this information useful. So it's not just a matter of opening the floodgate and saying, here's a bunch of numbers. It's about saying, here is something meaningful to the residents. So we've made the investment. The ratepayers are paying for it. So I'm trying to find a way to take that data and help them be informed consumers.
I will echo Councilmember O'Connell's comment about the leak issue in that a family member also had a leak, didn't know about it, and the very next day there was a door hanger. So I think the biggest asset we're going to get from those smart meters is to know about a leak right away. Not to know in 2 months because we get billed every 2 months, but to know about it right away. So that in itself can save residents thousands of dollars by knowing about a leak right away. And I think that's a big one. So I think specifically too, in terms of data, would be interesting to know how many customers are really enrolled in the online, how many people really access that, and how much has the increase in notification to the residents regarding leaks, because now they have this data more readily available. So I echo some of your comments, and I think that would be good information.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Marty.
I think it would be nice, not just the door hanger, but either a text that, hey, you've got a spike, or a phone call, because by the time you get the notice, if you're gone for the weekend, you're not going to know. So it's interesting that that data and the technology is available to better inform our residents, and hearing how that could be implemented would be I think, a benefit.
Okay. Any council comments from you this evening?
No, thank you.
Irene? Okay, I just have a couple items. On the some ad hoc committees, as well as an item I was going to bring up. Michael, you had three. I just got one.
Sorry.
But no, this is fine. I'd like to ask staff, and I know we've already spoke about it, but have a comprehensive proposal for council consideration and review on our purchasing policy. And not just about where the limits are, because, again, I always joke that when I was here, they were the same for every line, and things are not what they were back in those days for costs, but also beyond that scope in just the purchasing aspects that the departments do on the projects. And I'd like to see that so that if we can do streamlining again and we can have actions taken faster than if we had to do some cleanup on the street and it goes to $25,001, we can't do it until we convene the city council because nobody has the authority. So I think I want to see if we can bring that back for council's review and consideration. On subcommittees, there are some, I should say, ad hoc committees that are needed, 3 specifically. A garbage ad hoc committee, which, oddly enough, and I've certainly watched something on the news, so I was taken back, but it is to review the ecology strategy and the public customer outreach to address the growing need to prevent contamination of recycling. What I thought it meant when I saw it is I'm not rinsing out the container before I put it in the bin. That's not what Recology is saying. There's contaminations because if people are going to smaller bins, they are using the blue bin as a garbage can. So it contaminates it, and that means now loads are being returned from just not our community, and that obviously can add to problems as well as costs. With that same ad hoc committee, there's also to conduct the annual review of the Recology rate increase proposal. And again, as we know, we're already in a contract. It's very specific, but as you know, we annually do that where we meet and have that happen. And I'd like to ask if Michael and Marty would serve on that for both items. Okay. Next one is to the Rec Center and Pool Project Ad Hoc Committee, and that'll be meeting with Group 4 as the city manager kind of indicated. And I'd like to serve on that, and I'm asking Laura Davis if she would serve on that.
Yes.
And then on the Homeless Ad Hoc Committee, there's a quarterly meeting that's upcoming, and I know Irene has had has been a part of that and knows it well, and I'd like to have her on that, and I'd like to join her so that I can get up to speed and up to date with that, and since I haven't seen it. These ad hoc committee assignments are for these specific tasks, and they will meet as needed, and for a limited time on that particular topic. And once they've been completed, that work will be reported back here to the City Council, and then that role will be discontinued since that ad hoc committee will no longer be necessary. Any questions? Okay.